A lot of people think of Morocco as a country with so many colourful doors, they deserve their own Pinterest board. Or a picturesque wonderland where donkeys still make deliveries through narrow village streets. And as amazing as those sound, they're just scratching the surface. Because in this video, we're diving into everything that makes Morocco unforgettable. From its epic history and jaw-dropping landscapes to its booming economy and rich, vibrant culture. So grab a cup of mint tea, get comfortable, and let's get started. Our story starts all the way back in 789, when a man named Idris I arrived in Morocco. He made a place called Volubilis his capital, and founded Morocco's first royal family, the Idrisid dynasty. His son Idris II moved the capital to Fez, a city that would become one of the most important cultural and spiritual centres in North Africa. The Idrisids built mosques, schools, and entire cities. One of their greatest legacies is the Al-Qarawiyyin Mosque in Fez, which is considered to be one of the oldest universities in the world. Then came the Almoravid dynasty in the 11th century. These were Berber warriors from the desert who founded the city of Marrakech in 1062. But they didn't just stop in Morocco. They also spread their empire across North Africa and into parts of Spain and Portugal. Under the Almoravids, Marrakech became a hub of trade, religion, and politics. They also began building the famous Koutoubia Mosque, which still stands tall today. But their reign didn't last forever, because the Almohads rose up and took over in the 12th century. Led by a religious movement, they believed in one true version of Islam known as At-Tawhid, or the oneness of God. They rebuilt parts of Marrakech and added their own style, including the updated version of the Koutoubia Mosque. The Almohads ruled for nearly 50 years, until they lost a major battle in 1212. After that, the Merinid dynasty took over. They moved the capital back to Fez and focused on building schools, mosques, and beautiful architecture. And if you're interested, you can still visit the stunning Chella necropolis in Rabat, filled with ruins from this era. But again, their reign was short-lived, because the Portuguese arrived along the coast and started taking over parts of Morocco. Eventually, the Saadians rose up and pushed the Portuguese back. And these guys brought Morocco into a golden age of wealth, knowledge, and culture. They used gold from the Songhai Empire in West Africa to build palaces and tombs, like the beautiful Saadian tombs in Marrakech and the El Badi Palace. They even teamed up with Spain to help fight off the Ottoman Turks. In the 1600s, after years of chaos, a new dynasty came to power. The Alawites. They came from a town called Tafilalt and have ruled Morocco ever since. That's over 350 years and counting. One of their most famous rulers was Sultan Moulay Ismail, who made the city of Meknes his capital, and built massive walls and gates, like the famous Bab el Mansour. The dynasty eventually moved the capital to Rabat, where it still stands today. So, going back, European powers like France and Spain started eyeing Morocco during the 1800s. By 1912, Morocco became a French protectorate, while Spain took over some parts in the north and south. But the Moroccan people didn't like that, and they showed it. In the 1920s, the Rif Berbers in the north led a full-blown rebellion, and in 1956, Morocco finally gained independence. French Morocco became free in March, and Spanish Morocco followed in April, except for two small cities, Ceuta and Melilla, which Spain still holds today. After independence, Morocco became a constitutional monarchy in 1977, in which King Hassan II ruled until 1999, followed by his son, King Mohammed VI, who still rules the country to this day. But what makes the land they govern so geographically fascinating? Well, I'll tell you. Morocco sits in a pretty unique spot on the map, right where Africa and Europe almost meet. To the north, it touches the calm, blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea. To the west, it stretches out along the wild Atlantic Ocean, and across the country, you'll find everything from snowy mountain peaks to scorching desert sands. No wonder people call it the land of the distant sunset. And yes, it's just as magical as it sounds. Case in point, the Atlas Mountains. This is a massive range that cuts across Morocco from the northeast all the way to the southwest. It's actually made up of three parts: the High Atlas, the Middle Atlas, and the Anti-Atlas. Known as the Roof of Morocco, the High Atlas is home to the tallest mountain in North Africa, called Mount Toubkal, which rises to 4,167 metres, or 13,671 feet. This range stretches over 750 kilometres, or 466 miles, and acts like a natural divider, separating the country into three different zones: the Atlantic coast, the Mediterranean region, and the Saharan South. Many of the people living here are Amazigh or Berber, and most rely on farming and herding to make a living. The area is also filled with beautiful valleys, waterfalls, and even a national park that protects rare plants and animals. Just north of the High Atlas is the Middle Atlas. It's cooler, greener, and packed with lakes, forests, and rolling hills. Picture oak and cork trees, volcanic plateaus, and even snow in the winter months. This part of the range runs about 350 kilometres, or 217 miles long, and includes cities like Ifrane, Khenifra, and Taza. It also feeds four major water basins, three of which flow to the Atlantic and one to the Mediterranean. Here's a fun fact. Morocco is home to the Barbary macaque, a wild monkey that lives in these forests. Thanks to conservation efforts, they're making a strong comeback. Farther south lies the Anti-Atlas, the driest of the three ranges. It's much closer to the Sahara, so the air is hot and dry most of the year. The tallest peak here is Jebel Siroa, standing at 3,300 metres or nearly 11,000 feet. For a long time this range was mostly off the radar, but these days it's a popular spot for hikers and road trippers looking for adventure. Now let's move from the mountains to the coast. To the west, Morocco's Atlantic coastline runs for more than 3,000 kilometres, or about 1,900 miles. It connects the Sahara to the rest of the country and is home to cities like Agadir, Casablanca, Essaouira, and the capital, Rabat. It's a favourite spot for surfers, fishermen, and anyone looking for a laid-back beach escape. One standout destination is Dakhla, a peaceful desert town right on the Atlantic, known for windsurfing and sunny winter swims. To the north, Morocco's Mediterranean coast runs for about 500 kilometres, or a little over 300 miles, from Tangier to the far northeast. It's quieter than the Atlantic side, but just as beautiful. You'll find calm blue waters, golden beaches, and a relaxed, breezy vibe. Plus, the culture here feels like a mix of Arab, Berber, and Andalusian roots. And then, of course, there's the Sahara. In southeastern Morocco, you'll find Merzouga, a small town that serves as a gateway to the desert. Here, giant sand dunes glow red and orange, especially during sunrise and sunset. Some dunes rise over 150 metres, which is almost 500 feet high. Besides sightseeing, you can also ride camels across the dunes, sleep in tents under the stars, and enjoy traditional music and storytelling around a campfire. It's quiet, peaceful, and definitely one for the books. But what happens when paradise gets shaken to its core? In 2023, a powerful earthquake shook Morocco's High Atlas mountains. The damage was real, but the country didn't stall. Tourists kept arriving, businesses stayed open, and the economy kept moving forward. Still, Morocco faced another challenge: drought. Another dry year meant smaller harvests and higher food prices, which slowed growth slightly in 2024. Even so, the dip was small, and experts expect things to improve in 2025 and 2026. So, what's keeping Morocco's economy strong? Tourism is a big one. In just the first 3 months of 2025, more than 4 million visitors came to explore its beaches, deserts, and mountains. Beyond tourism, Morocco's industries are diverse. I'm talking textiles, food production, and even aeronautics, with local factories producing airplane parts for the global market. Foreign investment is also flowing in, especially from Europe. New factories are opening, jobs are being created, and Morocco's trade links with the EU remain a major driver of growth. In terms of prices, it's been a seesaw. Food costs spiked early in 2025 due to the drought, then eased by spring, leaving inflation at a low average of around 1.7% in the year's first quarter. Unemployment, however, remains a concern, especially for young people and women. Even though Morocco added over 160,000 jobs in 2024, it's not enough to match population growth. Over the past decade, the working-age population has grown by more than 10%, but jobs have only grown by about 1.5%. So to close that gap, Morocco is pushing reforms, like better job training, more flexible contracts, affordable childcare, and stronger support for women in the workforce. Education is also a focus, with efforts to keep kids in school longer and improve quality. Looking ahead, the outlook is pretty steady. Over the next few years, Morocco's economy is expected to grow by around 3.8% to 3.9%. That might not sound flashy, but it's sustainable, and that's all that matters. In 2024, Morocco's GDP was estimated at about 155 billion US dollars, which was over 130 billion more than it was in 1980. And while that growth hasn't always been smooth, the long-term trend is clear. It's climbing, with another 69 billion expected to be added by 2030. In the meantime, the government's walking a fine line, covering the costs of earthquake recovery while still keeping the budget in check. Public debt is slowly coming down, and Morocco has a safety net in place with strong foreign currency reserves and credit lines from the IMF. Of course, there are still big hurdles the country needs to overcome. For instance, climate change is making water harder to find. 5 of the last 6 years have been dry, which is a major problem, because agriculture is still a major piece of the economy. Then there's the tricky world of global trade. Tensions between economic heavyweights like the US, China, and the EU could shake up export markets, especially for industries like car manufacturing, where Morocco is quickly making a name for itself. But one thing about Morocco is that it knows how to adapt. It's weathered pandemics, price shocks, and natural disasters, and it keeps pushing forward. With stable politics, a growing economy, and long-term reforms in motion, Morocco is definitely setting itself up to thrive in a world that never stops changing. And speaking of thriving, let's talk about one of Morocco's biggest success stories, its culture. So what better way to start this section than with food? Because honestly, Moroccan cuisine is an explosion of taste in every bite. It's playful, bold, and full of surprises. One of the most iconic dishes is called the tagine. It's a stew cooked low and slow in a cone-shaped clay pot. Plus, it mixes meats like lamb or chicken with spices, fruits, veggies, and nuts. The result? Warm, rich, sweet, and savoury magic. And the best part? No two tagines ever taste the same. Then there's couscous. It's light, fluffy, and can be savoury or sweet depending on what it's served with, whether that's meats, veggies, or even dried fruits. And if you're feeling adventurous, try pastilla, a flaky pastry stuffed with pigeon or chicken, eggs, onions, and spices, all dusted with sugar and cinnamon. It sounds wild, but somehow, it works. Then, during Ramadan, many Moroccans break their fast with harira, a comforting tomato-based soup filled with lentils, chickpeas, and bits of lamb. And for dessert, you'll find all kinds of honey-soaked, almond-packed pastries just waiting to tempt you. Now for drinks. Moroccan mint tea is a staple. You'll see it served everywhere, all day long, often poured high from silver teapots into tiny glasses. But beyond what's on the plate, Moroccan culture is also woven into what people wear, make, and treasure. Take the decorative arts, for example. Moroccan markets are filled with beautiful handmade goods, like vibrant tiles, carved wood, ceramics. But nothing stands out more than the carpets. Passed down through generations of women, each carpet has hidden meanings, stories, feelings, memories, even love messages woven right into the fabric. And there are 2 main types: Berber rugs, which are more earthy and geometric, and Rabat rugs, which are usually bolder and more colourful. Jewellery is another big deal, especially for women. You may not always see it, since many women keep it tucked under traditional clothing, but it's deeply symbolic. Silver is the metal of choice, and the designs vary depending on whether it's Berber, which is usually simple and earthy, or Spanish Moorish, which is more detailed and ornate. Men, by the way, are typically the ones who make the jewellery, and like carpet weaving, this craft is passed down through the family line. And while we're on the topic of crafts, we have to talk about leather. Morocco is famous for its super soft leather goods, whether it's bags, belts, wallets, you name it. The old city of Fez is the leather capital, where workers still tan and dye leather using centuries-old methods. The process is done entirely by hand, using natural dyes and traditional techniques. It's messy, smelly, but the end results are stunning. As for religion, Morocco is predominantly Sunni Muslim. In fact, about 99% of the population are. You'll hear the call to prayer echo across towns 5 times a day. And while non-Muslims usually can't enter mosques, there are a few open to visitors, like the Hassan II Mosque in Casablanca or the Ali Ben Youssef complex in Marrakesh. I don't know about you, but out of all the fascinating things about Morocco, the food steals the show for me. So I want to know, if you could try just one Moroccan dish, which one would you pick first? Sound off in the comments section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, you'll love this next one.